All right, everybody. We want to start talking about our ad setup. I got some rules here in front of you that I follow when entering new niches. I've been teaching my VAs to do as well. And these are good starting lines for you. I got 1 through 9. It's real simple to follow, real easy to do. But this is a guideline that you can stray left or right once you've understood your niche and you've gathered some data and know how to adjust accordingly. But right now, what you're doing is starting in a new niche, or you're launching your first ad, similar to how I will show you, and then we will learn from there. So, step number 1 is setting up one campaign for each product. In this case, we have a T-shirt. And note, before we start, this is for a large audience of like around 1 million and above. And you can segment less according to your audience size. I tell you to segment by platform, gender, and age. That's pretty standard as far as breaking an audience down into small chunks for you to understand that audience and see if they respond to your offering, your shirt in this instance. But whatever your offering is, if they're not responding to it, you're going to be killing that ad and scaling the ones that do respond. So for Facebook, we have the desktop and mobile platform, and we're going to go over that. Gender-wise, of course, you have your male and female, and then age, we're going to segment according to how Facebook does, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's hop over and go into our Audience Insight tool. I have some demographics that are pulled up according to how we did it in the previous video. You can see that I went over and plugged in Dirks Bentley as my interest. I have a shirt that's going to be targeted for women. And of course, I'm starting 25 and above up to the 65 level. I want to understand what I'm looking at here, and it's pretty key to look at. In this instance, since it's 10% or below, I would chop this audience out of my targeting down the road in the next couple of steps. The reason for that is that it doesn't seem to be worthwhile for me to target 10% of 2 million people in an ad and possibly waste some money on. It doesn't seem that the interest is there in that demographic for me to spend my money on. So I'm going to hop over to page likes. I'm going to go down to where we were in the last videos. Similar to Tim McGraw in the previous videos, we've proven that Dirks Bentley is the interest we want to be going after here. The reason for that is that these other interests on Facebook are not at the affinity level we want and what we would use as a qualifier as an interest to go after for our shirt. Luke Bryan only has a 3.9x to Dirks Bentley, and that is not in the teens or above where we want it. So it seems like you would get some Luke Bryan people to go after, but not nearly enough to target that whole interest in your ads. So let's focus on Dirks Bentley, which is good because what I'll be able to do is show you really how to segment down as much as possible because this audience is so big. So what we can also do, it's not really worthwhile because I know it won't change, but we can go ahead and segment to the 55 level. And that's going to be 1.5 to 2 million. But here again, this hasn't changed because there was no strong relation on the whole audience. I knew that when I segmented it down, it was going to be relatively the same with minor exception. So let's hop over in our ads manager. You can see that that's the next step, is to set up one campaign for each product. Separate the platform and gender into ad sets. For example, women desktop. Start with just one for your first ad. So we're going to hop back over here. I got my page, it's the Dirks Bentley fans only, and I got my product, which is geared towards women. In this case, a t-shirt. I'm going to scroll down here, and the first thing right off the bat what I need to do is grab myself a tracking pixel. This is just a generic one that I've had, and I've used on any new niche So I can just, it's not niche specific. It fires off of any of my shirts that are in new niches. You can see that I ran a little bit of traffic to this shirt, but not a lot. And since I am going down to woman desktop is my first ad set, I'm going to be removing mobile and right column from the list. So now I just have a desktop ad that will be created. I'm going to adjust my age according to how we wanted it. 25 to 55. And we were just targeting women. Going to enter our Dirks Bentley interest. And we can see that we have 1.1 million people still in this audience. So we know that that is way too many, because when we go here and add mobile back into the picture, we have 1.78 million, which goes back and correlates to our number up here, doesn't it? Somewhere between 1.5 and 2 million monthly active people. Well, it looks like 1.78 is right smack in the middle. So now we need to segment on age. And to do that accordingly, we're going to do it just as Facebook does. So we're going to go back over here, and you can see in the demographics portion of the Audience Insight tool that Facebook segments at 25 and 34, 35 to 44, 45 to 54, and 55 to 64. And you know what? If you want to cut that portion out right there, let's go ahead and knock that to 54. So this is going to be our ads within our ad set of women desktop. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to go down to 34. And you can see that that still in itself gives us 740,000 people to go after. So that's a really narrowed down chunk from, and we're even going to remove it further, 440,000 people to go after. So I could go after with mobile and get 740,000, or I could figure out if mobile traffic is converting or desktop traffic is converting. And at this time, we want to go just after desktop because 740,000 people is still quite a bit. So we're going down here to our campaign. We're going to change that just for organizational purposes. I'm going to say save. And under ad set name, I'm just going to do woman desktop. And I'm going to plug in a $20 amount. And I'm going to optimize for page post engagement. The reason for that is that this is a page post engagement ad, and we're allowing Facebook to optimize for the purpose of this ad, which is page post engagement. If this was a click to website ad, we'd be optimizing for clicks. In my opinion, we're going to let the beast do what it is best at doing, and we're going to allow it to analyze data, and we're going to allow it to gather data on who was most likely to engage with our post and optimize the ad accordingly. Another key important thing to realize here is that I want to create my first ad and schedule it to launch at 4 a.m. the next day. The reason for that is I generally am creating ads at night. You can see that it is 11:30 here. I'm in Central Time. So what I want to do is hit October 21st, the next day, at 4. Sorry. 4 a.m. Now, my campaign length for this is 14 days. So I want to go and so, make sure that my ad is only running for that 14 days. So this would be 7 because I'm launching it today. This would be 7, and the next would be 14. So let's end that at night. And we're set there. And now what we're going to do is go ahead and place launch. So now we're in here, and this is pretty standard view after launching our first ad. I'm going to go ahead and revise this name of this ad to the age bracket that I used. Now, going back to our rules, we're going to go to the Power Editor and download next. So I'm going to go to the Power Editor and hit download, and I will be right back after this does. Okay, so I'm back, and we've downloaded our recent campaign, and what we're going to do is go down to the ad set level, and we're going to take our ad and duplicate it. And we're going to do it one more time, because in this instance, what we're doing is making sure that we're aligned with what the Audience Insight tool has for us. And we're not going to do the 55 to 64 range here. What we're going to be doing is 25 to 54 segmented into 3 ads. So, back to the Power Editor. What we need to do is change this 35 to 44. .45 to 54, and that is all the ads that we're putting within Women Desktop, right? But we do need to adjust them, so let's go over here, go down to Audience, then hit 45 to 54. 35 to 44. Now we have 3 ads targeted at 3 different people, or 3 different sets of people, all within one ad set. Now, doing this, you're going to go over to Women Desktop. You're going to duplicate that. And this will be Women Mobile. Because remember, we segmented at platform and gender. So we got our women on our desktop, now we need our women on our mobile. And that's talked about right here. You're duplicating the ad set. We're going to name it, in this case, Women Mobile. Then go highlight all those ads. Change the highlighted ads to mobile. So let's hop back over here. Go into our ads. We can now see that ads. We've highlighted all of our Women Mobile. Under Creative, we need to go over here. And we're going to hit Newsfeed, Mobile Newsfeed, and take off Desktop Newsfeed. And that's it, because we're just selling to women. If I was to, say, do male here, if I wanted to go after men, the easiest thing to do is copy both of these. Rename one Men Desktop. Men Desktop. And Men Mobile. go into our ads, highlight all of those, then hop down to our audience and select men. Now the cool thing is that since the male desktop ones were copied off the women desktop ones, if you go into here, you're going to be on the desktop. If you go up to mobile and select one of those, you're going to have mobile selected. So this is it. After that, and in our case, we were going to actually delete the men because that's not targeted at what we're going after. So that we're going to upload the women by clicking this button here, and that is it. These will launch tomorrow. The Facebook optimized for page post engagement will force these ads to basically show the best performing one. Whatever is best performing out of this ad set will be the one that gets most of the traffic. Whatever is performing the best out of this ad set will get the majority of the traffic, with each one of them kind of getting a little bit more. But what it allows you to do is make Facebook do the work for you, let Facebook try to optimize, and that really gives you more and more control over finding winners and going from there. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to watch it for about a day or two. We're going to be looking for, obviously, good page post engagement cost, because that's what this ad is geared towards. And then we're also going to be focused on conversion, because converting ultimately, regardless of anything else, is what's most important. I don't care if I'm getting $1 page post engagement if I'm converting at every 15 cents. And that's a terrible example, but you know what I mean. All costs are relevant except for really conversion cost, but good metrics to follow for this ad will be our page post engagement cost. So we'll talk more about that in the upcoming videos, but this has been Matt Schmidt. I hope this makes sense to you. Go through it a couple times. This is for very large audiences. If I was to, again, have a smaller audience, if I wasn't going after so many people, I could segment less, starting at this level. Maybe have one age bracket, 25 to 54, within mobile and within desktop. If it was even smaller of an audience and there wasn't barely any people in there, we wouldn't even need to split at the desktop or the mobile level. But since our audience within each one of these has so many people in it, look at that. 720,000 people, 560,000 people. See, these are huge amounts of people that we've segmented down from millions of people down to just a couple hundreds of thousand. And that'll give us good scalability into that audience if we find it's a winner, but we'll also be able to kill that audience off if we think it's a loser and not have to run our bad performing ad to say 400,000 people. And that's how we get big winners. So again, Matt Schmidt here. I hope that makes sense. Go through it again if you need it. But other than that, I will see you in the next video. Good Schmidt.